morning, good afternoon, good evening. Cruising with AB. Hunting or Fishing Regulations Edition. I don't know if some of you also watched the video. And I got a new Pew Pew yesterday, which was really fun. Yesterday was my 40th year anniversary at my place of employment. So, August 5th, 1985 is when I started there. And so one of the things they gave me for appreciation of working there is I received, I could have got what I wanted. I could have gotten a check, or they said, you want a gift card, or what do you want? So we've got a local sporting goods store here called Academy Sports and Outdoors. And I said, well, just have a gift card to the Academy. And so that's what I got. And I bought that shotgun, and I bought some birthday presents for my daughter's upcoming birthdays. And I think I bought myself a pair of pants. But that was nice. Made room in my gun cabinet, and now it's sitting in there waiting to be taken out to go and have some fun. But one of the things that I was looking at when I was, when I get a new rifle, it doesn't matter what it is, a new pistol, I always break it down and inspect it myself, even though I'm not a gunsmith. But I know pretty good idea what I'm looking at. Then I was looking through the instruction manual and the parts breakdown on all the how to break it down. If you break a part, there's the parts I need to order the new part with, and so I noticed that there was a part in there called a shell limiter, which basically, if anybody knows what, it's a plug for your shotgun, and it limits the amount of shells that you're allowed to put into the magazine. And it didn't have that part, and normally they come already installed in the shotgun, but since this is I guess they would consider this a defensive, home defense or whatever shotgun, they probably just didn't bother to put it in the packaging when I bought from the factory. Now these are Turkish-made shotguns, Benelli M4 clones. But anyway, I bought this shotgun too with the intent of, taking it bird hunting or hog hunting. And so if I, right now I can get 5 shells in the magazine, and instead of having to make my own homemade plug, which would not be a problem, I saw this in the parts breakdown of the shotgun, and so I called up customer service and told them what was going on, and they promptly put one in the mail for me. Yeah, I'd much rather have a factory part than something that I made, especially in a firearm. Not saying that it's any different, but I mean, heck, if I can get the part that supposed to come with it, then why not? But that comes to my second question about what this is all about. Is federally, I believe, there are laws mandated for the amount of shotgun shells you can have in your shotgun hunting certain game. I hunt mostly migratory mourning doves, and they only allow you to be able to put 2 shells in the magazine with 1 in the chamber. So you've got a total of 3, maximum of 3 rounds that you can have at any one time. And, besides all the conservation and aspect behind it, or some biologists got a hold of this brainchild and said, oh, we need to limit the amount of rounds that you can shoot at this bird. You got to give them a fighting chance. You're already setting limits on how many that we can take. Here in Texas, it's 15 mourning dove per day. And so what is the difference with me shooting at this bird 5 or 6 times as compared to only 3 times? The limit's still the same. Maybe I'm not understanding something here. So if I miss them, if I shoot 3 times at it and I miss, does that not mean I can have another 2 or 3 shots at it because I'm angry? Angry shooting because I missed? Help me understand the reasoning behind it. Yes, and I know there may be somebody out there, it's all about conservation. And well, yeah, what's the difference with me getting my limit in an hour as compared to getting my limit in 3 hours? Because I didn't get enough shots at the birds, or maybe I just don't get it. And fishing too. There's some things where, like if I want to run a trout line or a jug line, there's specific regulations on how it's supposed to be made and how many hooks you can have on that line. Like for a jug line down here in Texas, you can have 5 hooks. They've got to be spread 4 foot apart. You've got to label the jug. Trout line, you can only have 25 hooks, I believe, per trout line. An individual can fish with 100 hooks a day. Well, why can't I just make a trout line with 100 hooks on it, instead of making 4 of them with 25? Hello? What's the difference? I just think they just make these rules just to control us. And when you get caught, you've got 26 hooks on this trout line. You're only supposed to have 25. Well, now here's your citation for this illegal trout line. Now, I'm not trying to make a hating video. I'm just trying to make sense of some of these laws that they mandate on us and tell us that we have to do that. Yes, I'm all for law and order and law-abiding citizens and following the rules of law, but that doesn't mean that the laws that are out there aren't stupid or make sense. Who's a man to tell another man how he can feed his family? If I was very poor and maybe I was homeless and I needed to provide for myself or my family, so you're saying that I've got to follow all these rules and regulations and stuff like that. And I could be wrong unless they changed it, but I remember reading in the Texas Parks and Wildlife Handbook that you don't need to have a license if you're indigent, homeless, don't have anything, and you don't need to have a license to eat, kill an animal and eat it. if that still holds true or not, but you know, I think that should be the rule. I mean, anyway, I mean, I understand that there's game hogs out there and people who catch way over their limit just to fill their freezer, and if we kept on doing that, then you're going to deplete the population of that species. I mean, I guess that could happen. I mean, look what we did to the buffalo, but we did that on purpose. I don't know. They'd do the same thing. You know, there's just regulations here, regulations there. I just wish that some of them would make sense, like these plugs in a shotgun. Because duck hunters have the same, waterfowl have the same regulations. It's crazy. But I do follow the rules. I don't break the law. If all possible, I don't break the law. That's I don't want to lose my hunting privileges, or I don't want to catch a felony charge for doing something stupid and that would not allow me to ever be able to have a firearm in my possession or to go hunting ever again because I broke some law that just doesn't make sense. I mean, they wouldn't give you a felony for killing a couple of extra doves. But what they do is they charge you, and then they charge you a restitution, I guess they call it, or to whatever the cost would be to raise that fish or that animal. I guess I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I'm kind of excited to be able to take that out in the field and break it in, I guess. So it's got a little break-in period, which I kind of find silly. Mac 1014. Never owned one, but I did a lot of research about it, and watched a lot of YouTube videos before I decided to make that purchase. Since it's a clone, I mean, it's made in Turkey. I'm not saying that Turkish firearms are bad, but I've seen a lot of good reviews on it. Instead of it's firearms in the mid 500 range, and if you were going to go buy its real counterpart, which is a Benelli M4, I believe it's called, that rifle can be close to $2,000. I could buy 4 of those ones that I have, or that 4 clones for the price of one. Anyway, what do you all think? This is just something that was on my mind. My wife and I were talking about it last night. Well, guys, we will catch you guys later.